For 75 years, Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association members have been bringing choice, value, and innovation to agriculture. Dealers are more profitable with Shortline manufacturers, and customers prefer equipment from FEMA Shortline manufacturers.
I've been around 20 years, and I knew you two guys as the face of the company. But I imagine that prior to that time, somewhere, Wilf was the face of the company to the employees and to the dealers and to the suppliers. Would that be accurate or not?
For sure.
Well, yeah, but when did we start? Well,
you were in there a lot earlier than I was.
26 years old when I was marketing manager, so I was kind of the face for the dealers back in, when was that, Paul? 86, 87, I think. And then you were right behind me, not too many years behind me. And you and I were doing all the marketing. And Scott was looking after research and development, and Roland was the administrator. So that was our structure. Paul and I worked as a team for many, many years with different things. And it worked. I don't know. But Dad started, explaining Dad's position for it. Dad was the designer. He was at R&D. He lived at R&D. He was in charge of new product design. That was his focus. His focus was never dealer calls or.
He did a little bit with distributors. He would go to the conventions, and he had, I think about the Weaslers and those people. He'd go down to the conventions. He'd go to the odd farm show, and they always ate it up. They loved when he was around, and he made some nice friendships with a lot of those people. Frankie Quado and L.R. Seitz and guys like Dwayne Lanier and Tony Weasler, and he had a group that he hung with a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Those were long relationships that we, even Jack and I with the Quaddle boys, it's kind of like our brothers from Kansas, those relationships are and sometimes they're always some hard conversations. Sometimes it's still business. But those are guys that, you shake their hand and we got a deal. Those are really solid. Those are solid relationships that are 60-year relationships.
Are all of you still retaining ownership of the company?
Yes. All the Degelman family still has ownership in the company, correct? And Paul and I sit on the board. Matter of fact, we're leaving next week. We have a strategy session in Saskatoon we're going to, and then we have a board meeting up there. So we're still active. We're not day to day. Okay, so we're both at home. We're both retired, and the company is running with a great management team, and we're part of the we're part of the directors. So we're still giving it some direction.
And so is Westcap the name of the private equity?
Yeah. Westcap is a Saskatoon, Saskatchewan company, and when we were looking for new ownership, they were just a breath of fresh air. We liked them immediately just because they knew us, and lots of people were interested in us, but we ended up with them, and it's a good marriage. They're always thinking about what we've done since we joined with them. Was we doubled our factory in the United States. We bought a facility across the road. We acquired Wren Mills out of Alberta. We're looking at growth, so we're not stagnant. We're looking forward. So they're they kind of think like us. We get along with them, and it's a good marriage.
Yeah, well, I would say if we're going to talk about Westcap, I would say like Jack mentioned, we had an immediate connection with them, and it wasn't only that they knew us, but we're all from Saskatchewan. We all cheer for the same football field. We all understand the farmer mentality. That's a Saskatchewan thing, and it was a an immediate, okay, we get each other, and it has been great. And we left them in the hands of a team that we put together, that we built, of longtime Degelman employees. And there's a little bit of youth in that group, but a management team that, like when the Degelmans were involved, there was always a glass ceiling, right? The Degelmans had all the big jobs, right? We were all, well, with us removed, these people have an opportunity to grow to that next level. And these people really showed us, hey, Jack and I, we thought that, hey, we're the guys. How is this thing going to go without us? Well, these guys are cranking it out of the park. They're growing the business big time, and they're just doing it their way. They're not doing it the way we were doing it, but they are doing it. Blair Flavel is president of the company. He started at 18 years old on the saws in the back, and he's worked his way to the president of the company. So that's kind of the guys that we kind of go with, and we give these guys an opportunity, and they always impress. And you give them a little bit of rope, and they run with it, and they're organized, and they're calculating, and they're thoughtful, and they're doing a terrific job. We did over $200 million last year, as an example. It's like we in the last 5 years, we've almost doubled our revenue. So it's just like these guys are really doing a fantastic job, and involving. We're a lean company. We're a lean manufacturer now, and we're giving the seminars on how to be lean. Companies are coming into our company, and we're sharing with them. And we got more black belts and yellow belts and green belt people. And involving our, and this is a unionized shop. We're involving unionized people, and they are eating it up. They are feeling listened to, and they're feeling that they are a part of this. And it's not an 8-hour-a-day job or a 10-hour-a-day job. They're feeling like it's their company, and it is their company. They're transforming their own areas. We have people. This process, this whole lean process is, and again, it just kind of speaks to this new management team. Just kind of transforms people where there's people that are presenting to the president of Degelman Industries and to the board some of their ideas, and these people haven't spoken in front of a group ever in their life. They've never, they've been told to do something, and they go do it, but they've never given an opportunity where they have, okay, this is my idea, this is what I'm thinking, this is what the return on investment could look like, and they're presenting it. And some of them, you look at and you feel for these guys, their hands are shaking, they're so nervous, but they're getting pushed out of their comfort zone, and these people are now becoming supervisors, and they're growing in the business. They push themselves out of their their straightforward job into actually thinking outside the box and thinking for a better place to work and a more productive and ultimately providing a better product. And I got to tell you, when that product is coming out of final assembly, it's beautiful. You want to lick the paint. It's gorgeous. So they kind of they're not doing what everybody else is doing. They are trying to push it, and they're trying to give them a product that nobody has seen before, that nobody's experienced before. So
with our place, Mike, we have about 600 employees, and every person is involved in a meeting every day. They're stand-up meetings. We call them huddle meetings, and everybody is involved. So we take that very, very seriously, and we bought into this new system, And it just made us better because we have 600 men and women thinking about how to run Degelman Industries better rather than just a few. So it works.
Is Grant, is he
Grant
still
Cook?
at West Cap? Yeah.
Yeah. He's the CEO of West Cap. Yeah. Jamie Schweitzer chairs our board. Rob Connolly is the other person on our board. We have a 4-person board, so it's Paul and myself, Rob Connolly, and Jamie Schweitzer chairs it, and that's our 4-person board.
And I can tell you, their philosophy is right. We sold them a beautiful company, all ready to go, and they're smart people. They trusted in what we built, and they let them go. And what they do, they stand back, and how can we help? So if we're looking to acquire another company, that's where they have expertise. That's where they can help out. If we want expansion, we need to raise funds. They're the guys. They have funds that they can contribute. They can ask some tough questions, but if we're ready to go, and they'll test us, but they're not running the company. Our staff are running the company. They're sitting back and letting them go. So they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. So it's a nice marriage.
Are you guys their only ag equipment holding, or do they have other people there too?
Well, they also own, they own other
They have
ag
lots
equipment. And they own Rocky Mountain, the Case IH dealership in Western Canada, and they also own Paul.
Well, they have fertilizer input companies, or like crop input companies.
Right way.
Yeah. They have Right Way Morris. They bought Right Way Morris. Right Way was before us. And then it was a bit of a garage sale on Morris, and they grabbed that technology and they put that into Right Way. And I think Right Way is a little bit different company than, it's a lot smaller company, and it's a little different type of situation with Right Way.
But West Cap owns a home builder. They own a small little airline in Manitoba. They own a meat processing place. They own I think is it a trust company? So they own a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they have software companies, but mostly Saskatchewan companies.
Yeah,
I would say mostly.
Okay.
And Rocky Mountain Equipment. To date, I think they were the biggest kind of acquisition. And I don't know how many stores Rocky has, but that's a massive organization. And again, part of that acquisition was the success that they had with Degelman, for sure. We were the big portfolio company in their group of companies. And and they're still looking, and they're still aggressive in that area for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I got just a few more questions here, and then anything I missed, I'll have you guys fill me in. Is Kinsey still marketing Pro-Till and under their own name here in the States? Is that still going to?
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We have an agreement with them. Yep.
For someone who never met Wilf, and asked you guys the question, how would you describe his leadership style?
Probably lead by example. To me, that's a big thing. It's not do as I say. He does it, and we follow him. Like, he works hard. He works out on the farm. We work hard. He goes to shows or conventions. We go. He puts in the hours. We put in the hours. That's what he expects from everybody. So I'd say lead by example is big.
Yeah.
Paul?
I 100%. He wasn't giving us any sermons. Every once in a while he'd give us shit, but it wasn't in regards to business. He definitely led by example. He's a huge risk taker. Like, it would bother us because in the early days, he had nothing to lose. Well, then we built up this business, and he wanted a $25 million plant across the street. He wanted whatever he wanted to do. It was just like the risk level. What if it made sense, and in theory it kind of made sense, he was doing it. He wasn't looking at the risk. He was looking at the reward and what we could be. He wasn't shy. Like it again, don't you think, Jack? It bothered the shit out of us. Like we were okay. Like
he wanted to make some.
I hope you're right. You've been right before. And he's like, that's nothing. We'll put up a building. We'll do this. We'll put up a little paint shop, and we're there. We got it. Don't worry about it, boys. This is what we're gonna do. And that's how he kind of took the fear away from us a little bit, but it was tough. It was tough to kind of accept it sometimes.
Here's a deep thought question for you. What happens to your community, the dealers, the suppliers, the farmers, if Wilf is never born? It's what I call it's a wonderful life question.
I don't think farm equipment, the quality of farm equipment everywhere is as good. That's what I honestly feel. I think the quality of Degelman equipment, and because of Wilf, and he was he was demanding, he was demanding. It had to be well done. It had to have nice edges. It had to look good, and it had to be heavy duty. And I know this, and the reason I know it, because at the time, I remember Morris Rodweeder. They were the big manufacturer in Saskatchewan. They had 600 people back in the 70s, and they were building stuff, and their stuff was okay. It did the job. It had good value, but it wasn't that next level. And then when Degelman started producing equipment, then you saw companies like FlexiCoil. Remember FlexiCoil in the 80s? Mm-hmm. They started doing what Degelman was doing. They put iron. I remember it, and I'm thinking, okay, now these guys are catching on. Now we got a little bit more competition. They're putting iron into it. They're making nice designs. And like even the small guys, I talked to Kevin Ruska. Kevin is Bale King. And Kevin's a big time farmer. He's got like 40,000 acres. He farms. He's a manufacturer. And you talk to Kevin, and Kevin will tell you, I wanted my stuff to look like Degelman. That was my goal. My goal was to build a Degelman Bale King. I talked to Greg Hawkins. His goal, another small manufacturer, my goal was to make it like Degelman. If I can make it like Degelman, I'm on the right quality track. And innovation wise, they both had good innovation, but there's a lot of companies that had to step up, or we leave them in the dust. And that's what happened. And FlexiCoil was the first one that, on a big scale, that stepped up their game. And it was like, okay, even Burgo was pretty much a kind of little choppy, kind of piecey kind of thing. Well, you take a look at Burgo now. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Well, good lines, finished, good paint.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, 70s, they thought paint was at the end. You need good quality paint. You need good fit and finish.
Yeah, back in the 70s,
that's what I think.
Yeah, back in the 70s, you made a good point, Paul, because back in the 70s, you go to a farm show, and there was a huge difference between high quality and low quality. And now when you go to a show, that gap is a lot smaller now. Everybody kind of caught up. So yeah, and we know that Wilf Degelman is one of those guys that built the highest quality, because everybody talked about our welding and our paint and our finish. Like even John Deere, when John Deere made tillage, they didn't cap the ends. They'd cut the tubing and dirt can go in. And I thought, you know what? Everything was capped and everything was finished nice. Yeah, that's a good point, Paul.
Even I was thinking about Kevin Rushka and Hawkes, and Wilf, I think, kind of inspired those people. Didn't have a talk with them maybe, but they knew his story. They knew where he came from, and they kind of did the same thing. They thought, well, if Wilf can do it, maybe I have a chance too. And they did, and they built their first products in their barns, and they didn't feel stupid about it. They thought, okay, hey, this is how it happens. Wilf did it. So you'd see these companies pop up. And they kind of believe that, you know what, a guy with not much education that had a will to do something can be successful. And that's what these guys, you talk about a successful guy, that Kevin Rushka, he's crazy successful. And I'll guarantee you, if you talk to him about farm equipment, Degelman will come up in that conversation, because that's what his thing was. And then I don't know, the question that's a good question. I guess what always comes to my mind is the thousands of people that he's employed and those families. And I don't know where they would be if they weren't at Degelman. I think they had a good life with Degelman, and they raised their family, and they had he employed these people for their whole career. And I don't know where those people would be now. But Jack, I don't know what the count is. We don't know what the count is, but there would be thousands.
Yeah, that was one of my projects I put together. If you got a check from Degelman Industries, I put your name down, and it's thousands of names. And some of them had checks for 42 years, and some of them got one check. But I listed all those names. It's in this book.
That was cool.
So it was quite interesting. Yeah.
Well, I don't know Jack, what would we be doing?
Yeah.
We would have had the fun that we've had.
What have I failed to ask you that you want to share with the world about Wilf?
He's a generous guy. He's he had lots of compassion for his employees and the farmers, which we talked about.
He reminds me of Mr. Kinsable, because you go to a show down there and farmers are lined up to talk to Mr. Kinsable. They want his autograph, they want to talk to him, and that sort of thing. And that's what my dad's like too. He's one of those guys where the farming community knew him, and he was he was beside all those people.
I got kind of a funny story that, Jack and I would shake our heads all the time, because, we're always at the show, we're selling, and we're trying to sell what we have in the book, right? What we have in inventory, or what we currently are offering. Well, you invite Wilf to the show, and everything that we do, he undoes, and he talks about the next rock picker. Oh no, I got another one coming, and this one, you wait for this one. And anyways, he was always thinking of the next one, and he's a good guy. We learned lots from him, and he's a good guy. He still tells you the old stories, and he kind of inspires us,